Hello and welcome everyone to another video. This time I would like to present to you this computer that I've been working on and that you've seen probably maybe in one of my previous videos, just playing some music, right? Now I can actually display a cube, which is, I love this. This actually uses floating point math, but I won't get into the details. It just looks cool, the ASCII graphics and everything. But for now, let's restart this. And I'm going to show you what this can actually do, right? So the computer, I think I plugged it in right. Okay, so the computer, there we go, okay. So now it works. We've had a bit of a problem, but I have resolved it. So we can run some basic commands. So for example, there's dir, and this just shows a directory listing. Now, there are no files. I mean, there are only files. There's no folders or anything like that. However, files are enough. And I haven't gotten into the details, but I wanted to tell you about, so this is based upon the Z80 processor. It's an older processor from the 70s, late 70s, an 8-bit, and you know, it's pretty interesting as a processor. Anyway, let's continue with the showcase for now. There's only 64 kilobytes of RAM, which is actually the most the processor can access, but in modern terms, that's very little anyway. So here what I want to show you first is Microsoft BASIC. And this is a program, and you can think of it like it's a programming language, right? It's an interpreter. You can think of it like Python. It's not as advanced, definitely not, but it is interesting. And you can see there's only 34,000 bytes free. I assume the rest of it are consumed by the interpreter and the operating system, which is CP/M on this computer. So to demonstrate this program, I can just do a print, and let's just say 10 plus 2, which gives us 12. And this is a really nice piece of software. I can actually load files. So you see there's this sinewave.basic file, sinewave, and the program is now loaded into memory, and I can list it. It's very short, and what it does, if I do run, it will just print a sine wave, right? Like it does it horizontally because I wrote this program before I had my my terminal, which is also a custom terminal. Before I had it actually parse control characters, like escape characters, right? So there wasn't any cursor positioning, so you just had to sort of work with this. But it works, and it proves the point that it shows it works, you know. Okay, I'm blabbering a bit. Let's just reset this, and I can, okay, there doesn't work, but I can system, which will get me back to my prompt, and I can see all of the programs here on disk A, and I have a bit more programs on disk D. So if I go there, here is some music, and the program I was talking about is play, which, as the name suggests, it can play some music. So let's start with Bad Apple, because that's a classic, and I'll probably just let it play for a bit and then restart. So Okay, I think that's enough of that. And I can reset it now and it will get back. Okay, that's not normal, but hopefully it works. Alright, it works. And this is a common occurrence, right? Like, you can tell this computer is held by duct tape and prayers. When I wrote the BIOS, I was very optimistic, let's say, that I would rewrite it later and that it wouldn't remain that way, the way that I wrote it originally, but unfortunately it remained that way, and I'm just left with this very glitchy system. But when it works, and I think that's enough. We actually have a bit more programs I can show you. There's a tic-tac-toe game, so if I load that, of course this doesn't find it because it's probably not there. Where is it? Yes, it's tic-tac. There is a 9-character file name limit, right? So you cannot name a file whatever you want. So you have to sort of make things do. Like, you have 9 characters for the name and then 3 more for the extension, and that's about it. So if I list it, this one is a bit longer. And it's also very poorly written, as most things that I write. But it does work, and as you can see, this is a sort of tutorial. And unfortunately, I think, no, it doesn't cut off. Okay, the camera is alright. And this uses cursor positioning, which I discussed a bit earlier. So I can press any key to start. And now you use the numbers that you've just seen before to place an X or a 0. So for example, I can do 1 and it would place an X there. I can do a 3 to place a 0 there. I think that's a 4 and that places an X over there. Then we can do a 5. And finally, if we want X to win, we can do I think that's a 7, and X1 we can play again. And it keeps track of the score automatically. You also cannot place, so see, it says you cannot go there, so you cannot just, okay, what's happened there? Well, that's a glitch, but usually it doesn't happen, you know. Okay, so 0, 1, and it's 1, 1 right now, and I do not want to play again. And there's also a few more programs, like the cipher program. And this just computes the cipher of a string. So if I run it, hopefully I remember how to use this. Let's do some encoding. Hello, and I think I also made it work with any ASCII, or maybe just a letter. I don't remember. The thing is, if I put that exclamation mark, I think it will know how to handle it, right? That's what I meant. So let's do a key of 13, and that is the encoded string, and let's do it again. So I think I need to press 1 for that, and let's decode YYB exclamation mark key of 13, and it decodes the string, handling that those other characters like the exclamation mark. So I can do system again, and there's also disk C. Here there's only this program, which is the cube program, and if I run it here, it's not going to work because it needs the other serial channel. It has 2 serial channels, right? One of them is the main one, which is what you're seeing right now, and then the other one is used for drawing and other random stuff. It's not really, it doesn't have a set use. You can change it and use it however you want, essentially. And there's just cube here. I think I also have a B, and I think I was messing around with some C compilers. Unfortunately, they don't work, and this is probably because of the sloppy BIOS that I wrote, which I think the warm boot subroutine, without getting into too much detail, that subroutine that handles the reset, right? When you exit the program, it will go to that warm boot subroutine to handle the reset, right? And I think that that subroutine is supposed to reload the operating system, not in its entirety, but it should reload a part of it at least, because it could be overwritten by other programs. But I didn't know that when I wrote the BIOS, and now sometimes it does happen that the operating system just gets overwritten and you have to reset the computer, right? With a reset button. So I don't think I have anything else, though I do have in A, I can do a stat, and you can see here the disk space. Okay, B, and if I now do a stat, you can see how much space there is available on each disk. And I don't think the disks are partitioned properly. Like in the code, I think it's pretty glitchy too, so let me see. Like you can tell right there that the C disk used to have 964K, but now it only registers at 496, which is quite a discrepancy, and that is a bug that I haven't handled. And I think we can do a bit more songs and then I can end it. Right here there isn't much to talk about. The specs I've already told you, maybe the operating frequency, which is just 4 megahertz. Again, by modern standards that's very little, but this is the maximum the CPU can run at. This version of the CPU, there've been a bunch of versions made. So let's do, I don't know, 2413. I think this is a song from, so if I do play, I think this is a song from the furnace tracker, right? There's this furnace tracker where you can make songs for this, for certain older chips. And I was using it, and I think this is an example song, a sample song that you can see, you can find there. So I quite like this one, and I'm just gonna shut up for now. And I think that's enough. Unfortunately, I have to reset the computer again, because again the BIOS isn't written properly. Okay, so this is a bit interesting because it's not indicating any ID there. There should be an ID there, but unfortunately it's not detecting it. I don't know why that's happening, but as you can see it works, so I guess it's fine. Anything else? There's Sargon chess. This is also not written by me. Let me delete this. And what you can do here, this can play chess with you, right? You can see there, and it doesn't load. Okay, it loaded, and we can start a new game. No printer. Let's start as white, so I can play first, and level of play, let's do 1. Display mode, remove, and as you can see, there's chess here. So I can do, for example, I think it is E. I'm not a chess person, but e2 to e4. I think I pressed e3 and okay, that's some weirdness. Will it recover? Okay, it has recovered. As you can see, it has moved the knight to c6. So you can play chess this way. I haven't played chess this way, but you can. For getting programs into the computer itself, I have this XR utility. That's also not written by me. As you can see the credit there. File name expected, of course it wants a file name. I haven't given it one. And I think that's kind of all. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.